Welcome back. Dr. Lynn here. I am at Land Between the Lakes, between Kentucky Lake and Barkley Cove, I believe. So I'm here in Kentucky. This is Becoming Nonanonymous Roadshow edition. And this is actually power tip number 6, where I'm going to show you how to turn from addiction to a recovery superpower. And yes, I am actually in the Kentucky Lake here. So I'm going to talk to you today about power tip number 6, which is living in between, or life in between. Land between the lakes, a little spin there. So I'm going to show you 1 Tai Chi move and 2 Qigong moves, and actually then relate part 2 to yin and yang. So living in between is between addiction and living clean. So living in active addiction, living clean. What's in between? That's the sweet spot I'm going to talk to you about, and relate it to the yin and yang, that Tai Chi black and white symbol. All right, so I'm going to back up a little bit, and I'm going to start with one of the most famous moves. I think it's kind of like tree in yoga or warrior in yoga, very familiar in Tai Chi, and it's called parting the horse's mane. And I'm going to relate that to this idea of movement. So when you're in between, you gotta move. You gotta go one way or the other way, right? But a lot of great stuff happens when you're just living in between. All right, so I'm going to show you this Tai Chi move called parting the horse's mane, and then I'm going to add the untangle piece, and you'll get the idea of this. The way to survive in between and actually get to one place or the other is to move. Movement matters. All right, here we go. So I'm going to back up here a little bit and embrace this water today. I love teaching Aqua Chi. So parting the horse's mane, I'm just going to start with a nice wide V step, and I'm going to hold on to that energy ball and that black and white symbol, almost the size of a large grapefruit, and I've got it here in my hands. So the idea here in parting the horse's mane is almost, if you imagine one hand coming up the throat of the horse. Oh, I got my hair kind of like a mane today, and the other parting through that mane. Now, Dr. Lynn's moves are pretty over-exaggerated, so you make this personal to your style of Tai Chi. No disrespect to traditional Tai Chi. I'm a little more on the contemporary side. I like to move, and that's what's really helped me in recovery. All right, so parting the horse's mane, I've got the energy ball here. The bottom hand is going to come up, and almost like you're tossing a frisbee or a boomerang, while the top hand, and I like to wiggle my fingers, is passing over and parting the horse's mane. So if you think of that black and white symbol that you're holding in your hand, that balanced, beautiful energy, it's going to move. So part the horse's mane, and then I bring that ball back, and I go to the other side and part the horse's mane. Now, some people like to keep it very small and in here, but Dr. Lynn likes to come way up and come back, part the horse's mane to the other side, and come back. All right, I'm going to pair the breath, and I love to use a Pilates breath where it's in through the nose and exhale through the mouth. And when you exhale, kind of pull that navel, tuck it up and under the rib cage. Get a little core workout. Inhale through the nose and exhale. Here comes the untangle part, a little less traditional for Tai Chi, but it sure has to do with that life in between, the yin and the yang, that space in between where I think a lot of recovery takes place. So I'm going to part the horse's mane. Let me show you the movement, and then I'm going to untangle. 1, 2, 3, 4. Part the horse's mane. Untangle. 1, 2, 3, 4. And this is really good. I'm making a figure 8 with my hips. It's good to loosen up your hip joints. It strengthens all the muscles and ligaments and tendons. And if you have sciatic, it can help create more space for that nerve to go through. Let's do that again with the breath. Inhaling, part the horse's mane. Exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. Look at all that beautiful wrist, elbow, hand. Loosens that up as well. Inhale. Exhale. Untangle. 2, 3, 4. So right now I want you to pause and think about what in your life, in between living in addiction and living clean, do you need to untangle yourself from right here in between? Is it an unhealthy relationship, a behavior, a thought pattern? This is a wonderful way to symbolize that untangling yourself, setting yourself free, and creating this in-between space to kind of grow into. More on how that relates to yin and yang later. All right, so now I'm going to do 2 Qigong moves. And the first Qigong move is called Embracing the Tiger. So I got my little claws there. I always think of my bobcats from Texas State. All right, so you notice I squatted a little. I'm gluing my legs together, little balance challenge. So embrace your tiger, and this is called balancing yin and yang energy. Now I've cocked my wrists back, so I'm gonna press up, balancing yin and yang energy. I'm gonna look up high. This area up in here, that yin energy is light and airy, and it's the white part of that symbol. It's Father Sky, male energy. Inhale, look up, great for this kidney. Exhale, embrace your tiger. Now when I came back in, I put the opposite hand close to my heart, and that's the hand that goes up. So holding up heaven and pressing down earth, that yang energy, that dark coolness. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, embrace your tiger. 1 up, 1 down, the other side. Big breath in. Look at this beautiful movement. Cross brain, new thought patterns, new neural pathway. Right there in between these opposites, right? Beautiful. Let's do that 1 more. Inhale, exhale. So that's called embracing the tiger and balancing yin and yang energy. All right, our last one is so good for people in recovery, and we're gonna do some punching. We're gonna make some fists, and we're gonna punch all different directions, and it helps digest undigested anger. We don't need that anger and resentment while we're trying to get out of that middle and move into the light, right? So that idea of getting out that undigested anger that's housed in our liver, and it detoxifies your liver. Go figure. All right, so I'm gonna back up here. I add squats to this movement so that I get a little workout in my lower extremity. I'm gonna tuck my fists and I'm gonna start punching different directions. I'm gonna punch front, front, side, side, up, up, and down, down. So we're going all different directions, but where's all the action taking place? In between. And when we do it now, we're gonna exhale with a ha, and that helps drop anxiety, tension, stress. Here we go. Ha, 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 hoo, hoo. To the front, front, to the side, side, high, high, down, low, low. Now, any direction as fast you can. Ha, 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 ha. I'm going to get some water there. And usually the laughter ensues. So this is something that I've added to this move that's aided me in recovery. So here we are punching and getting rid of that anger, letting out that stress. But I also want to ask the God of my understanding and the God of the universe to send me serenity and peace. So I open my hand and I draw it in, and I'm opening to the front. So the same motions and directions, it just the hand is reaching and inviting all that serenity and peace and recovery. Let's grab some water. Let's do that again. One last time. This opening and reaching. Grant me that serenity, God. Grant me that peace. And pull. Let's embrace that water element today. Beautiful. All right, I'm going to come a little closer. And I hid my little diagram today right here. And I think before I might have mixed up my direction for yin and yang when I was doing up and down. But I want to talk to you now a little bit about yin and yang and this symbol, and talk about how this relates to this idea of in between. So yang energy, I think before I might have said yin. Whoops, I do make mistakes. And that yang energy is sunlight and warmth and fire, and it's hard and masculine and active movement. It's a positive, represents upward mobility, heaven, dry and rigid. Those are some of the characteristics of this yang energy. Let's go over here to the dark, to the yin. It is dark, it is cold. This is the moon, where this is the sun. It's feminine energy, it's positive. It's a stillness, a softness, negative, downward earth, and flexible. But what I didn't know about this symbol, and I don't know about you guys, but what the circles meant. And I thought that was so beautiful that, you know, when yang energy is at its fullest, it contains yin. So you can't have the dark without the light, right? And we probably heard that before. And then over here for the yin, you can't have, you know, or when yin is at its fullest, it contains that yang energy. So it helps create the balance. And then also this one dot right here, you barely ever see that in the symbol, but that's a point of stillness. So just right now, I want you to take a moment, and here I am at the land between the lakes. Look at this. Maybe you can hear the breeze. Just that stillness, isn't that quite nice? And that is represented right here in that space. All right, so what does this curved line mean? And that curved line represents a flow of movement and energy. And that's where I came up with this concept that's helped me in the recovery, was this land of in-between. So following that curve, that movement of energy, is where instead of, let's say, one or the other, yes or no, we're kind of a maybe. Yes, I want to get clean. No, I don't want to stay in my active addiction, but maybe I'm ready today or tomorrow. Yeah, maybe I've had a relapse, but right here in that middle space, and I kind of use some mandala patterns in there, maybe that's where the magic is, right? This recovery, this action. So we are we're in detox. Maybe we're in a 30, 60, 90-day program. We're in recovery. So that means that when we're in recovery, we got to move one way or the other. We have to stay active. And for me, physical movement is just key. That dopamine, right? You get that extra natural high from the dopamine that comes from movement. And it comes from movement like I showed you today, right? From Tai Chi and Qigong. So the other thing I wanted to, notice about this in between and life in between, that it's okay to not be okay all the time. Right? We always think, oh, we have to be okay. And if someone asks us, are you fine? We're fine, right? Are you okay? I'm fine. When we're probably not so fine, right? But it's when we're in between and we're kind of uncomfortable and we're struggling and we don't know what to do. That land of in between is maybe exactly where we need to be. And that can occur throughout your recovery, and maybe it's a cycle. Maybe you've relapsed and you have to start over. I'm not a big fan of restarting my days and recounting. I fortunately have never physically relapsed on alcohol, but I've emotionally relapsed. I've had every behavior, thought, you name it, that goes with a relapse. But I took action. I didn't stay stuck in one side or the other, the hard or the soft, the dark and the light, the positive, the negative. And matter of fact, I always used to think the dark side was bad. It's not bad at all. Sometimes we need cool energy. We need the support of the earth. So it's not always bad. It's about balance, right? And finding that. But it's okay to not be balanced and be in the middle, right in between. If that's where you are today, or you find yourself in the future, I have found myself there too. But one of the things I'm doing right now is I'm on the move. I am certainly making a move right now because I will not let that devil beat me. Addiction will not take me down. I want joy and harmony and peace. So I hope that has helped you out today. I will see you next time. I'm going to go climb a Via Ferrata at Red River Gorge, Kentucky to hold my chip as close to God as I can get up. All right, till next time. Bye-bye.